Hi, so today we'll talk about public policy communication, and in this session what we'll cover is significance of government communication, its purpose, core values of government communication, responsible communication and communication from evidence, that is an additional dimension. So what is significance of communication, why it is important in today's world? Just have a look at this picture. Prime Minister sweeping the grounds. He made a movement of Swachh Bharat mission. Waste management has been a big headache for the country, but he could pursue and convince people to keep their areas clean. You will agree that our cities are much cleaner now. Look now at another picture. When COVID-19 had started making inroads in the country, he could again mobilize and rally people to do as was suggested by the health and other experts to tackle the virus. Even his adversaries accept that he is a very good communicator. The PM is head of the government and people look up to their governments for taking care of their problems, and so it is natural that whenever he plans interaction with the people, they will try to anticipate. The three circumstances that I mentioned earlier make it clear that people can be convinced and mobilized if the communication is clear. Uncertainty is better avoided. Now the advancements in technology in modes of communication and the communication strategy are going to play a significant role in the success or failure of the policy. In fact, there are evidences that well-intentioned policies failed because they were badly communicated. There is evidence at home. If we look at different successful programs of the present government, many had precursors in the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's regime, but those could not make waves due to not so effective communication, implicitly consensus building and engaging with the stakeholders. A research in China found that prior consultation and policy training have significant positive influence on policy understanding. The function of policy training is to improve objective policy understanding. In India, consultative mechanism kind of prior consultation to prepare cities proposals under Smart Cities mission intended to facilitate two-way communication between citizens and municipal authorities. Additionally, capacity building of urban sector functionaries is a component of Smart Cities and Amrut mission both, so that the objective understanding of the programs is there among the implementers. A global study titled The Leaders Report highlighted the future of government communication. At the heart of this research lies the simple recognition that public policy cannot be delivered successfully without effective communication. The research has also identified that government communication is overlooked and underused as a strategic tool for policy delivery, which implies that its significance has not dawned completely on those who are responsible for making and implementing policies. So, what is this government communication? As per the Encyclopedic Dictionary, government communication can be defined as all the activities of public sector institutions and organizations that are aimed at conveying and sharing information, primarily for the purpose of presenting and explaining government decisions and actions, promoting the legitimacy of these interventions, defending recognized values, and helping to maintain social bonds. So, what does the government communication do? Its purpose is to inform, persuade, engage. Informing citizens or providing citizens with adequate information on priorities, programs, and activities contributes to government legitimacy. A World Bank sponsored workshop noted that effective public communication efforts enable citizen participation, but many countries lack a culture of consultation and participation. The problem is compounded by the low literacy rates and lack of information provision. In many cases, countries not only lack capacity in communication between government and the public, but also internal communication among government agencies. Now, persuasion can help in building consensus around the policy. Among people, democratic methods are always preferred by citizens. While they may look for direction and support towards government, seeking their opinion ensures buy-in of the majority. Institutional culture often plays an important role in shaping a government's approach to communication. Innovative approaches are needed to build trust and find common ground among NGOs, media, and government. Among functionaries ensures that they take responsibility. To make persuasion feasible, the leader should be leading by example, look committed, abiding by code of conduct, look incorruptible. In essence, you should be practicing what you preach. Why engaging the citizens is important? Engaging instills a sense of ownership in the community that helps in sustaining the consensus and avoiding confrontation throughout the policy cycle. Now, there are certain core values of government communication which any communication strategist should keep in mind. Policies of the government affect all citizens, organizations, society and international community, and democratic values demand that there should be transparency in the activities of the government. Then rationality demands that the government should communicate with the citizens and take into consideration the opinion of all the stakeholders. For example, Estonian government has identified certain core values as communication is part of every government activity from planning to final implementation. What are those values? Openness, honesty, responsibility, comprehensibility, neutrality, justifiability, respect, cooperation, innovation. One of the core values is responsive and responsible communication. Poor communication fosters distrust in government. Government communication is an area that requires high level of professionalism and constant development. Fulfillment of the communication functions of a ministry and sub-agencies requires systematic, long-term planning and organizational memory. There are several challenges in this. The internet has loosened government's historical and collective grip on trust. It has transformed the role that governments previously had as providers of information. Social media has created a sense that all information is free and equal. While technology has offered governments many more channels through which to engage with those they govern, that same technology has fractured audiences. It is enabling misinformation to be corroborated by anonymous users and politicians alike, and at ever increasing speeds. We have seen it in so many instances. How can we meet such challenges? Last year in India, given the new and dynamic modes of information dissemination, the idea of embedding Indian Information Service officers with various ministries was gaining ground in the government. Most agree that skill upgradation and expanding the resource base is the key and will solve the current challenges being faced by a PIB officer. PIB is Press Information Bureau. Some of the thorny issues constructing embedding officers with various ministries were: what will be the function of PIB if most of its officers are attached to ministries? How neutral can an officer remain if embedded with a ministry? Who will the officers report to, the secretary or the minister? What will happen to the principal director general PIB? Who will appraise these officers, DG PIB, as is a practice now, or the secretary of the ministry they are attached to? There are some caveats too. There is a thin line to treat while engaged in the policy communication at any level, that the communication unit does not become a political propaganda mouthpiece. It is not appropriate for a government agency to intervene in the political affairs of parties. It may be difficult in the authoritarian regime, but it is of critical importance in a democratic setup. The lack of professionalism in government communication in developing countries presents a serious challenge. Many governments lack the infrastructure needed for effective communication. The workshop mentioned earlier suggested that supporting government communication capacity as information development may be a useful approach. There are two sides to information development. First, a culture of disclosure needs to be created, and second, governments need to have relevant information available. Now, there is another dimension also where care needs to be taken regarding communication, that is communication from evidence. Policy researches are conducted, opinions are generated through surveys, feedback from the ground is obtained, media reporting has become vigorous. All these may form the policy inputs, provided they are communicated to the policy apparatus effectively, and there is greater inbuilt acceptance of these in the policy process. This will help in evidence-based policy making. Evidence-based policy making has gained currency. In fact, it is not something new, but after Abhijit Banerjee got Nobel Prize, it has gained currency. And evidence-based policy we'll be talking about in the next session. So, thank you.